This is a great budget, building, frankly, off last year's work. We did some amazing transformational actions last year on public education, early ed, healthcare, higher ed, of course, most importantly, making the budget fiscally sound and saving for the rainy day. So while there's not a lot of new things in this budget, a lot of what it does is fund and implement what we focused on last year. But I just want to focus on the three higher ed, K-12, and early ed issues, which will be in sub 2, and we'll get to them in greater detail. So I wanted to acknowledge and thank the administration for starting the funding for the child care expansion and universal TK, which will be a big boom for our youngest learners and also working families. But we are hearing from people who are in the workforce that we have a challenge on people to work in these professions. So you need to make sure that we focus on finishing and finalizing the rate reform to make sure that we pay these providers adequate reimbursements to make sure they're financially viable and pay their workers living wages. We hear time and time again about people can leave and go work, make more money making a perfect Starbucks latte than helping make a perfect 3- and 4-year-old. So we need to focus on our priorities. As far as our K-12 schools, our school districts and our educators are the MVPs in COVID, trying to getting our students back to learning and helping families get back to work. We have a lot of work to do when it comes to our teacher and educator shortage. So we like the proposals from the governor's budget. We'll be fine-tuning them and potentially adding some more in the process. After-school programs, the path to universal after-school programs, we're fully in support of that. I think we need to fine-tune some of the definitions to make sure they can help all families in California have free after-school programs as we promised in last year's budget. And then higher ed, briefly, I just want to mention that, as Mr. O'Donnell said, I fully support looking at one-time money for school facilities. Also, a proper use of one-time money in the higher ed is in housing, which we did last year for $2 billion. And we've had such a surge in the amount of campuses applying for this money. It shows the demand. So potentially we could put some more in the current year for housing, which would help current college students who are struggling to pay ends meet and find a place to live, allow campuses to grow and accommodate future Californians, and also address the housing shortage as a whole. So those are just some issues out of the gate. Just want to make aware that we'll be looking at through the budget subcommittee process. Thank you, Mr. Chair.